Raz is Retro here, and I hope everyone is remaining retro. I have been nominated for the letter W by the legend by the name of Sperumbris, so we're going to get straight to it, and it is WCW versus NWO Revenge. I'm going to be very lazy, and I'm just going to take footage from the Sean and Raza Cup, which I already have. I muted it so that, you can hear what I have to say, and there isn't, double or triple sounds. But anywho, I won't try to make this long because I've spoken about this game before. But honestly, I wanted to go with WCW versus NWO Revenge because I don't think anybody would actually pick this, which is fine. And if anybody does, then even better. But anywho, WCW versus NWO Revenge is the second game that I owned on the Nintendo 64 and the very first wrestling game that I owned, a game that I had a lot of love for, that I shared a lot of memories with, in particular with my brother Sean, and I was a big WCW wrestling fan. So basically what I just wanted to mention is just in terms of wrestling games as a whole on the Nintendo 64, regardless how one feels about the Nintendo 64, the Nintendo 64 controller and games, accessories, all that, whether you love it or hate it, I think one thing everyone can agree on is that when it came to wrestling games, WCW versus NWO Revenge, WCW WCW versus NWO World Tour, WWF WrestleMania, WWF No Mercy. These were some of the finest wrestling games that were ever made via AKI Productions, and they really, really were ahead of its time. The controls, the graphics were very good, the sound, the entrances. For me, really, what made those games special was the controls. It was so easy to use and understand, and it just felt right. And I think the N64 controller was specifically made for these wrestling games. There were other wrestling games as well, which weren't so good, but they weren't made from AKI on the N64 and even the PS1. But those four games that were particularly for the N64 were fantastic. So that's my pick, WCW versus NWO Revenge. It is my turn now to nominate 3 channels for the letter X. This is going to be very tricky, but I'm going to go with the 3 channels that I feel are very knowledgeable and should come up with something good. So first and foremost is I'm going to tag back Sperumbris. We have this thing going on where we're doing a little bit of a back and forth and we're playing tag. So Sperumbris is going to be my first nomination, followed by Subliminal VCR. I'm sure he's going to come up with a great banger. And I also want to see John Bundy do the letter X if he can, because currently he is in Scotland and he seems to do something interesting with this A to Z gaming thing since he's been in Scotland, and he's showcasing, some of the countries, some of the things that are out there. So will be interesting to see what X game he chooses, and hopefully he doesn't show us an X-rated location there. But regardless, we shall see. So Sperumbris, John Bundy, and Subliminal VCR. Thank you so much to Sperumbris for nominating me, and of course, big up to Retro Red Steve. I'm going to leave it at that. Remain retro, be good, and always play wrestling games on the Nintendo 64. Until then, kindly take care. Cheers.